When it comes to removing your pivot bolts and removing all your hardware to get access to the bearings, you're probably going to find it's easy just to strip the entire rear triangle. So I've removed the brake caliper, the derailleur. You only need to detach the shock from one end normally, but this one's getting serviced anyway, so I've taken the entire shock out. Take the cranks out because you need to get access to the bottom bracket pivot regardless of what bike it is you're servicing. This one's having a new bottom bracket in there, so I've removed the whole bottom bracket and everything. Right, to remove your bolts, what I tend to do is I'll undo the bottom bracket ones and remove the pivots from the bottom bracket first. These particular ones aren't intense, similar to Santa Cruz as well. Quite a lot of the boutique bikes, they have like what are called colleted bolts. So you've got one bolt that holds the collet in place, which expands into this other bolt to stop it unwinding. So you need to just remove those first. Most bikes you're just removing one bolt and then you can sort of tap the bolt out completely, but these, it's a two-piece scenario. So I'll just wind that one out. Now you'll find that when you remove this bolt, there's going to be some washers in there as well, so just don't lose your hardware, and you can see the orientation of your hardware as well when you take it out, because if it's to just drop out, you can sometimes not get to see which way it's supposed to go back in when you put it back together. Obviously it's equally as important to put things back together as it is taking it apart, so put those together. I'll talk about the bolts and the hardware a bit later on in this tutorial. I'm just initially going to get this DW. This is a DW pivot, a Dave Weigel pivot, which you'll find it's very similar on Santa Cruz bikes as well. Pivot cycles have the same one. Like I say, this is an intense. They all sort of use the same suspension setup. This is just a bit. I've not been serious for a long time. I don't think this particular bike. It's a bit clogged up. It's pretty damn filthy. I mean, these pivots are barely moving, to be honest with you. These DW pivots tend to have a grease port as well, but you know, unless that's done regularly, they're pretty redundant, those, to be honest with you. You need to keep on top of that, but you're just as well off just replacing the bearings on a regular sort of 12 to 18 month basis, particularly riding in the UK. Right, so that's completely apart. I mean, what I normally do for speed purposes is I would normally leave the brakes and the derailleur in place, but I do this all the time, you know, so I'm just trying to get through bikes as quickly as possible. If you're doing this for the first time, it would be better to remove everything and then remove the entire rear triangle just to put it somewhere out of the way, nice and safe, while you clean everything up. What I'll do is I'll remove this particular DW linkage, clean everything up, replace the bearings, which again I'll show on a tutorial on a separate video, and then I'll put all this one back together first, and then I'll remove the other one on the rocker linkage separately and service that separately. So I'm basically leaving the frame intact or half intact, whilst I service the bearings and replace the bearings, and then it saves me just dismantling the whole bike, and I can just do that much quicker. But like I say, I do this all the time, so I like to think I know what I'm doing, so I can do it a bit quicker. Okay, that just ends that particular part of this vid.